Hey, Shalom Akim, this the brother CHAARAWTAZA, GMS Florida, GMS Orlando, Orlando, Florida. So I had a question, man. I was just thinking about, and the question was, why do people act like animals? I mean, if you look at, society today, we go out and teach. People come up to us and they act like animals, all right? Animals, and the Most High said in Genesis chapter 1 that he made man in his image. And it wasn't talking about that we look like the Most High, because it said the Most High was a spirit, a fiery spirit, consuming fire. So it wasn't speaking as if like we look like the Most High, but it was speaking more so in the sense that we have wisdom, understanding, and we have the laws, like it said in like it said in the book of Sirach. Let me go get that real quick to prove that. Well, let me get both of those scriptures. All right, Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. And God said, let us make man in our image. Who is the us? The us is talking about the Most High God and the angels. All right. It says, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Now, it says after our image, after our likeness. What is the image of the Most High and the angels? Wisdom, knowledge, understanding, laws. All right? Because they made the earth after what? After wisdom and knowledge and understanding of all things. All right, so what else does it say? And also part of that is dominion. It's just going to keep going. It says, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his image, and the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. Okay? Alright, so if the Most High created man in his image and gave him knowledge and understanding and wisdom, why didn't it say that about the animals? Because the animals was not created in the image of the Most High, wisdom, understanding, laws, and dominion. That's why we were, as men, were to have dominion over the animals. Because the animals don't act out of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, or rationality. Animals act out of instinct. Okay? Alright, animals don't possess wisdom. They just do things because the Most High just make them do things. They don't possess the faculty of knowledge and understanding and wisdom. But humans do. Especially Israel, Yasharallah. So why then are we, as the Most High put as the dominant, creatures, which creatures meaning creation, not animals, as the dominant creatures of creation on the earth, why are we, let me not even say we, why are people acting like animals? I mean, look at the things that's going on. People, like we about to see this video on Black Friday. People go out on Black Friday and they out there stampeding and killing each other over some goddamn toys. Think about the way women act now. It's funny because I was talking to a brother yesterday and I was like, basically, Israel, you niggas, and you nigga women, y'all act like animals. Like when you see a ram, when you see rams, they fight over the women. The women go out, and the women out there showing their ass. The women ram. They out there, standing up. And then the men ram, they out there just clacking each other in the head. Just clack, clack. Clack, 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 clack. Just clacking each other, man. Fighting over the woman. And the woman ain't doing nothing but standing there just showing off, showing her ass up in the air. Or like baboons, monkeys. They say y'all niggas come from monkeys anyways. Y'all niggas believe that shit, even though it's not true. The female monkey or chimpanzee or whatever, you know, her bottom swells up, like around her vaginal area. It swells up, so it's big around the time when she ready to mate. And that lets the males know. Then the males, what do? They go off in a frenzy, go to fighting each other for the female. Now, that's the way animals act. Why are we acting like that? Why is Israel acting like that? You see a woman with a big, big booty, big old ass, and you niggas get to fighting over her, man. You niggas can't think about nothing else but her, man. You don't care about the Most High. You don't care about the other, the other dude. You don't care about, her putting herself on top of men. All you care about is fighting with this dude to get to her. I mean, that's where all this, this so-called black on black violence is from. It's so you can please a damn woman. You can sell drugs to your people so you can please these women, so you can get these cars and please these women. It's the same, just like animals, man. So, why is this shit in effect? Why is Israel, more so, because that's all we really worried about, why is Israel and the heathens acting like fucking animals, man? Like the things that the Most High created us to be dominant over. Well, basically it goes to, basically the answer is, a lack of judgment, lack of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, a lack of praising the Most High, and a rebellion against the Most High. So the Most High took everything from you, like it said in Romans chapter 1. So I'm gonna go in and play this video, alright? Some of the shit he goes off, but he makes some pretty decent points. So I'm gonna play this video, and after that we're gonna come back, we're gonna go into some scriptures and talk about it. Alright, so here we go.
You may have seen some of these already. Videos of mad, crazed shoppers trampling each other, rushing the police, fighting, pushing, screaming their way into retail stores on a day called Black Friday. And what are they so desperate to get after waiting for hours or even days outside popular retail stores? Nothing more than a few dollars off some popular consumer items like laptops and big screen TVs. There's something deeply disturbing about these scenes from the American landscape, scenes that have become increasingly violent in recent years. For a long time, I couldn't put my finger on it. I watched these videos in complete shock, just overtaken by the breakdown of typical social rules of behavior being demonstrated by these people.
Notice that he said the breakdown of typical social morals or some shit like that. That's basically because America's breaking down. It's the breakdown of America. Alright, let's keep going.
And then it finally hit me. These aren't videos of people at all. They're videos of animals. What we are witnessing here is the animalistic instinct at work. The lower brain stem taking over and completely suppressing the higher brain functions of people who normally would have been rather civil. With the animal brain unleashed, these people are now free to act with selfish violence and aggression, doing anything necessary to get what they need, even at the cost of trampling other human beings in the process.
Now remember, let me see if I can go to the other video. Remember, when I did the thing on the school system, and remember that quote, it was saying if they could breed selfishness, all these things like that in people. Well, let's go to that quote. Alright, it says, theorists from Plato to Rousseau to our own Dr. Inglis knew that if children could be cloistered with other children, stripped of responsibility and independence, encouraged to develop only the trivial emotions of greed. Now these are things that will be animalistic. Alright, it says encouraged to develop only the trivial emotions of greed, envy, jealousy, and fear. They would grow older but never truly grow up. Alright, this is the quote. Alright, I'll read it again. It says, theorists from Plato to Rousseau to our own Dr. Inglis knew that if children could be cloistered with other children, stripped of responsibility and independence, encouraged to develop only the trivial emotions of greed, envy, jealousy, and fear, they would grow older but never truly grow up. And this is the state of you Negroes, Native Americans, Hispanics, which are Israelites, in the state of America. This is the animalistic behavior. This is the difference between humans and animals. Humans know how to control those things. They use wisdom and understanding. But let's keep going.
What we're witnessing then in these videos is the survival instinct that's hard-coded into the lower brain functions of human beings. And that raises this fascinating question. How did this animalistic survival instinct get triggered? Why do shoppers trample other human beings and engage in aggressive animalistic behavior in order to achieve what amounts to small monetary discounts on products they still have to buy anyway? Remember, these Black Friday sale items are not being given away for free. What we are observing here is shoppers fighting over stuff they still have to buy.
Well, this shit look like you hear a woman in the background screaming, ah! It sound like the damn, like when you go to the zoo and you go to buy the monkey cage, if they fighting this shit, it sounds like monkeys fighting, man. That's what it sounds like.
And yet their behavior mirrors that of looters who ransack stores and steal products in times of social chaos. So what could have triggered this animalistic behavior on the part of shoppers who, on a regular day, are probably just regular people? The answer isn't simply that retail stores ran advertisements promoting Black Friday specials. Although that might seem like a reasonable explanation for these events, there's actually more to this story. That's because in order to unleash the animalistic survival instinct in a civilized human being, it's not enough to merely make them want something. You also have to suppress their civilized mind. And that is accomplished through the massive chemical assaults being pushed by conventional medicine and modern psychiatry. Widespread seasonal flu vaccination programs result in people being injected with chemical adjuvants that actually cause inflammation of the brain and may destroy higher brain function. Another chemical known as fluoride, which is actually a toxic waste byproduct of the phosphate mining industry, is dumped into municipal water supplies. This has the effect of further altering higher brain function and making people more open to suggestion. Fluoride was actually used experimentally in World War II as a truth serum. On top of the vaccines and the fluoride, the fraudulent industry of psychiatric medicine drugs children and adults with mind-altering psychotropic drugs that they claim treat various disorders that were actually invented by the pharmaceutical industry in order to sell more drugs. The so-called disorder of ADHD is treated with none other than speed, an amphetamine drug that used to be sold on the street before it was taken over by the drug companies and repackaged as chemical therapy for children. For adults, the conventional medical industry offers a toxic, brain-damaging treatment called chemotherapy, which involves poisoning patients with drugs that were first derived from the mustard gas chemical weapons of World War I. Chemotherapy causes chemo brain, a condition where victims lose higher brain functions and live out the rest of their lives with diminished cognitive capacity. And then there's the dental industry, which continues to insert the toxic heavy metal mercury into the mouths of children and adults. Mercury is a potent neurotoxin that destroys higher brain function. Chewing on mercury fillings releases potent mercury gas that gets inhaled into the body, where it damages brain cells. On top of all this, there's the aspartame in diet soda, which breaks down into formaldehyde, a chemical preservative that damages neurological function and causes headaches and blurred vision.
If you notice, if you know any people that's kind of overweight, especially women, you'll notice that they always drinking diet soda like that's really gonna do anything for them. But you notice most people drink diet soda because it's supposed to be healthier. Alright.
MSG is also used as a chemical additive in soups, salad dressings, gravy mixes, and even in many natural foods that hide this chemical in another ingredient called yeast extract. Tens of millions of Americans eat MSG and drink aspartame every day. In all, the American population is injected, medicated, and fed vast assortments of highly toxic brain-damaging chemicals that strip away their higher brain functions and leave behind their animalistic brains to remain in charge of their behavior. This is what leads to Black Friday riots and stampedes. It is the inevitable result of people who have been chemically contaminated out of their minds by the food industry, the medical industry, and the dental industry. And remember, these are the same people who are driving cars on public roadways, serving as jurors in court trials, and voting in presidential elections. These are the chemically lobotomized people who have now achieved a majority in America. They are not thoughtful, educated thinkers. They do not possess the power of intelligent planning or anticipation, and the fact that many of them will spend 24 hours waiting in line in order to save a few dollars on a sale item tells you that they're also unable to grasp even the most fundamental concepts of mathematics and personal finance. These are the mindless masses, the consumer zombies.
Okay, so as you can see, from the video, that this is the state of the world, man, which is folly, foolishness, man. Animals. Alright, so let's go into some scriptures. Alright. 1 John chapter 5 verse 19. It says, "And we know that we are of God, and the whole world lieth in wickedness." And that's the state of the world, man. Alright, because all it is people acting like animals goes back to Esau, the so-called white man, with his drugs, drugging people up. Alright, with his propaganda on the TVs, like these stupid ass Love and Basketball, Love and Hip Hop. Basketball Wives. What's some other stupid ass shows where people act like animals? Shows like that, man. Where people act like animals, and then these women, the black woman, go up and she imitates that shit. Or like the rap industry, which is owned by the Khazars, the fake Jews, promotes stupidity and folly, man. Niggas talking about stupid shit all damn day, talking about how he fucked this other dude wife, or how he got all this money and he spends it recklessly. Just promotion of folly. So the world lieth in wickedness, man. And it comes from the so-called white man. That's why YAHWASHI say you are of your father the devil, man. His will you do. Something to that nature. Because that's what you Negroes are. You're of your father the devil. That's why you act like animals. You know what? Let's go to Job chapter 30. To say you're of your father the devil. Well, it's talking about the so-called white man. Job chapter 30. Hold on. Yeah, it says, but now they are younger than I, have me in derision. It's talking about so-called white man, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Yea, whereunto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished. For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness like an animal, in former times desolate and waste, who cup up marrows by the by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as thieves. Why? Because they act like animals. Which we gonna damn near do that again. So we gonna burn their ass up, like according to the book of shit. My brain I can't think of the book name. Obadiah, like the book of Obadiah say. It says to dwell in the cliffs of the valley and caves of the earth and in rocks. Among the bushes they brayed, and under the nettles they were gathered together. What brays? A horse, which is a horse is what? An animal. So you Negroes getting this from your father, the devil, which is Esau. Which he's in the fucking state of an animal himself. Alright, verse 8. They were children of fools, yeah, children of base men. They were violent in the earth. They were violent in the earth. They were a lowly people. And now I'm their song, yeah, I'm their byword. They abhor me, they flee far from me, they spare not to spit in my face. That's what llamas do, they spit on you. So this is the state of the world, because the so-called white man rules it. The world has turned to animals, just like him. They act like animals. Alright? Go back. Alright, so 1 John chapter 5 verse 19 says, and we know that we are of God, who told of God, the elect of Israel, us, brothers that teach this word. It says, and the whole world lieth in wickedness. Alright? So Psalms chapter 49 verse 13 says, this is their way. You know, matter of fact, no, I don't want that one yet. Ecclesiastes, you know, in the Bible, chapter 10 verse 5, it says, there's an evil which I have seen under the sun, as an error which proceeded from the ruler. Who's the ruler of America? The elites. Alright, the Rothschilds and all those families, the Bilderberger, all those families like that, the elite banking families. Alright, just like in Babylon they had the Chaldeans, which were the wise men that ruled over, you know, Babylon and those various kingdoms, and the king had to answer to them. Well, today you have the banking elite. And they rule over America. They rule over all the presidents in the world. And them presidents go to them to fulfill their agenda. So where's this error proceeding from? Where people are acting like animals. Especially you Negroes. It's coming from the banking elites. And then under him, the so-called white man. Alright, it says, there's an evil which I have seen under the sun, as an error which proceeded from the ruler. Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low places. What is folly? Folly is foolishness. Acting like animals. Alright, it says folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low places. Who is the rich? The rich is you Israelites, or you Negroes, Native Americans, and Hispanics that woke up to this truth. Why? Because you're rich in knowledge. You're rich in the knowledge of the Most High. So verse 7 going to tell you who the riches are. It going to, tell you. Verse 7. I read verse 6 again. Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low places. I have seen servants upon horses, and princes walking as servants upon the earth. Well, what does it mean I've seen servants upon horses? A horse sits high up. You ever heard people say, oh, he's on his high horse? It means you're high up. Who is the servant that's sitting upon horses? The servant sitting upon horses is Esau, the so-called white man. He's the servant to Yasharallah, to Jacob. You know, when you go back to Genesis, when Isaac blessed Jacob. I've seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. Who is that? Israel. Man, you're following after the so-called white man, which is a servant, and basically they act like animals. While we were in Israel, while we were in Europe, ruling Europe as the Moors, the so-called white man was lying in filth, sleeping with hogs in his bed, sharing his quarters with animals, not taking baths and showers, because they have an animalistic way about them anyways. That's why America, which is ruled by the so-called white man, is in a state of animalism. People are basically just animals, walking around off emotion and instinct, trying to fulfill their lust for greed, envy, and everything else. Alright? Psalms chapter 49, verse 13. This their way is their folly. Okay? This their way is their folly. Yet their posterity approve their sins. Alright? The strong, about, that stands about the rich and the poor and the strong and all that shit like that. The survival of the fittest. All these different the Darwinism, that we came from monkeys, natural selection, that the evolution has chosen them to be the smartest and to be the rulers of this world. The inferiority of the so-called Negro or Israelites and the superiority of the so-called Caucasian. This is sins that their posterity approves of. This is why people act like animals. Alright, it says, yet their posterity approve their sins. Like sheep, they are laid in the grave. Death shall feed on them, and the upright shall have dominion over them in the morning. When is the morning? When the Most High, when YAHWH comes back and save us. That begins the morning. The kingdom is the morning. So it says, like sheep, they are laid in the grave. Meaning America is already dead. So-called white man is already dead. His kingdom is already done. We just haven't seen the manifestation of it. It says death shall feed on them. And that's what's happening now. What is death? What is another word for death? Corruption. Alright? That's why, like the so-called white man was saying, I had, that was on the video. That's why America is breaking down. That's why people no longer use rationality, but behave as animals. That's why the money is not worth anything no more. If you look at America, everything is corrupting. It's breaking down. Because death is feeding on them. Until it utterly consumes them. When it utterly consumes them, that'll be the time when the nuclear missiles come down and bombard this place. When they go into World War III. That'll be when death has utterly consumed them. But for right now, it says death shall feed on them. Meaning that the infrastructure of America is breaking down. You go out, you drive in the street, and there's holes all in the street, potholes. The money, the economy of America is decaying. Alright, the dollar ain't worth nothing. Prices are sky high for food. Alright, the social morality of America is breaking down. People don't know how to behave themselves as civil. They act like animals. People fight all the time over the stupidest shit. Best friends that turn on each other. Yeah, best friends, they kill each other, man. Over a bitch. Or over $1. Over 25 cents even. Alright, what else? As you see, the government of America is breaking down. You got they cutting NASA funding. They cutting funding for everything. The educational system breaking down. They cutting you know, the so-called education system. They taking away the arts out of school, the music out of school. They're taking away, they cutting back hours in school. They firing teachers. Alright, so death is feeding on America. So that's why people, more so people are starting to more act like animals. Whereas in the past they acted a little more civil. It says, and the upright shall have dominion over them in the morning. That's us, Israel, YHWH, the elect, shall have dominion over the whole world. It says, and their beauty shall consume in the grave from their dwelling. Now everybody, see, America was the place where everybody wanted to go. And America had streets of gold. Now the world looks at America as a damn near third world country. The credit rate for America went down. I think it was AAA plus. Now they might have an A plus, maybe something like that. The credit rating for America went down. That was a big blow to America, showing that America ain't really shit no more. America was looked at as the leader of the world. It ain't looked at as the leader of the world no more. America is looked at as the leader of the world for morality, for science and everything like that. Not anymore. So their beauty shall consume in the grave from their dwelling. Man, the beauty of America and how everybody perceives America to be is decaying. It's gone. It says, but God will redeem my soul from the power of the grave, for he shall receive me, talking about Israel. Alright. Be not thou afraid when one is made rich, when the glory of his house is increased. And that's what that was the instruction for us, not to be scared when the so-called white man was made rich and America was made rich. Because the Most High is going to carry it down. It says, for when he died, he shall carry nothing away. His glory shall not descend after him. It's talking about America. Alright, it's really talking about a man, but it also applies to America. Alright, it says, though while he lived, he blessed his soul, and men will praise thee when thou doest well to thyself. Meaning, if you rich, men gonna praise you. Not about how much wisdom you got. Not about how much you know. They're not gonna praise you for that, because we don't get praised and we know all type of shit. No, they're not gonna praise you for that. They're gonna praise you when you got money and you can buy things for yourself and you live in a big fancy house. It's the ways of America. It says, he shall go to the generation of his fathers, they shall never see light. Man that is in honor, now this is the point, man that is in honor and understandeth not is like the beasts that perish. Meaning what? Man that's in honor, like America, like the so-called white man, and understand not what? The scriptures. Alright, the laws, statutes, and commandments, the prophecies, the wisdom, the books of wisdom, you know, Sirach and or Ecclesiastes, Sirach, Wisdom of Solomon, Proverbs. They don't understand these books. They don't understand the scriptures. It says it's like the beast that perishes, meaning he's like an animal. So these people in America are like animals. You know, people are like animals because they don't understand the words of the Most High. Neither do they seek it. So they're in the animal state. Remember, go back to Genesis chapter 1. I think it was verse 26 or somewhere around that. The Most High said, let us make man in our image. And that image was talking about wisdom and understanding, law, statutes, and commandments. Alright, and dominion. So Proverbs 49 and 20 says, man that is in honor and understanding not is like beasts of the field that perish. The Most High didn't make beasts to have knowledge and understanding. You don't see lions with civilization. You don't see ostriches building buildings of stone and then painting and then chiseling out in the rock depictions of themselves. You don't see birds making works of art. You don't see lions, you know, speaking and creating. The Most High gave those things to humans, man. All right, and mainly Israel. All right, because that's his image. All right, so let's move on. John chapter 3 verse 9. And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men loved darkness rather than light. What is this darkness? Wickedness. What is this darkness? A lack of knowledge of understanding of the scriptures. A lack of the understanding of the book of Proverbs. A lack of the understanding of the Sirach. These are all books that tell you to guide your life in wisdom. So wisdom. A lack of wisdom. A lack of laws. Divine laws that the Most High gave us. Laws that the Most High and the angels keep. Laws of the universal laws. But these people don't keep it. These people give a fuck about the laws. That's why I say men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. Alright, for everyone that doeth evil hated the light. That's why nobody want to listen to us when we out there teaching. We're teaching the truth. We're teaching knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We go into all type of things other than the law. We go into sciences. We got health channels, man. Where we go into breaking down health for you, which is contrary to the medical establishment and their sayings. But it's the truth. It's based off the scriptures. Scriptures say use herb. But men hate what we say because they hate the light. They want to listen to darkness, which is the Esau society, America, and go to the doctors, which is after the form of darkness, set up by the Illuminati. Let's not even say the Illuminati, the banking elites. It says, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that is, his deeds may be manifest, that they are wrought in God. Okay, in Yahawah. Alright, so Isaiah chapter 13 verse 11, it says, I will punish the world for their evil, and the wickedness of their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. This is what the Most High is going to do to Esau. And I just want to read this verse too. It says, verse 12, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Alright, so the Most High is going to raise up the man. And that's another thing. You know, like I was, bringing up the analogy of, the bucks, the rams, It'll have the lady, the female ram out there. I don't know what they call the female ram, whatever they call it. They had a female ram out there, and, she'll be in heat. She'll be ready to, sorry, my mind going blank. She'll be ready to mate. And the men don't know that. And there'll be two males out there fighting over her. Kind of like she's raised up on a pedestal. Well, in American society, it's the same way. The woman is raised up on the pedestal. So you got to compete with other men to get a damn woman, which it shouldn't even be so. That's not the state of a man. Women seek after men. If you look in the scriptures, women always seek after men. It was never like animals. It was never like animals. Like the damn chimpanzee. The chimpanzee men, male chimpanzees or male monkeys fighting over the damn female because her vaginal area is swole up, so that the men can see that she want to have, she want to sex. She want to have sex. She want to mate. And then the male monkeys fight over her, man. They fight, and sometimes they'll kill each other. Well, it's the same way with you Negroes. The woman walk outside and she got her fucking pussy showing. She got a big ass showing that she ready to have sex. She about that sex. And then what you niggas do? You fight over her, man. Like monkeys. You niggas will fight over that woman, man. Alright, so, I think I said what I had to say, man. So with that, I say all praise to YAHAWASHI. Double honors to, my elders, which are GREATMILLSTONE. All praises to YAHAWASHI, and blessings to all the brothers out there teaching the truth and sincerity. And, you know, any sisters that's watching us and trying their best to, you know, follow the laws and do as the laws say, which is honor your husband. All right. And praise the Most High. All right. So with that, I say, you know, YAHAWASHI Barakadam. Shalom, Akim.